Now, can you hear me? Yeah. Hello, everybody. Hopefully, you can hear me now. I know y'all didn't think y'all was gonna get rid of me. Nope, I'm back. Hopefully, you're not sleeping. Um, Hopefully, you can join into this live again. Again, I'm just walking in obedience and doing the live. I wanted to go live earlier, but guess what? God changed my plans. I had to be mommy, and so I'm pausing with mommy right now. Could do stuff with my kids. And isn't that what happens all the time? You know, we have plans and then we think this is going to go this way and this way and that way. And it does not go that way at all. And so we just have to submit our plans and say, God, I'm just going to go with the flow. Part of my problem has always been control. And so I talk to my husband, Damien, all the time about it. And he even tells me, Umini, you are not in control. That's a hard thing for me, right? Just by personality, just who I am, it's hard for me not to be in control. But I'm learning in this season because, again, that's why I'm sharing with y'all every single day the lessons that I've learned in this season. I'm learning in this season that I'm not in control and that I have to submit my plans to God. And if He changes those plans, if I need to rest, I need to go ahead and listen to my body and rest. If I need to do something other than what I planned, I need to go ahead and do that. Which tonight for me was supporting my kids. And so that's just what I did. I supported them at their banquet, applauded with them. And then I was like, God, I still got to do what you've called me to do. And so I'm here. And so hopefully you're able to join me, or you can watch on the replay. Let me just tell you all that you all have blessed my life. And I mean that. I have gotten so many calls. I've gotten so many text messages, inboxes, shares, and comments, and just saying, man, what you're saying is speaking to me, and God is using you to speak through me in this season. And I'm thinking, really? You know, and we never, and that's for everyone. We never know how what we are going through can be a blessing to someone else. And so oftentimes we got to just open up our mouths and allow people into our world a little bit. You know, allow people to see what we're going through, talk to people, share with people. Now, I'm not telling you to share all your business. I'm telling you to use wisdom and discernment. But when God leads you to share, or He's allowing you to go through certain things, just know that, again, it is never for just you to have this experience. Oftentimes, God allows us to go through things so that we can share it with somebody else and be a blessing to someone else. And so that's what I'm learning in this lesson also, is that open up your mouth, speak. I'm going to give a shout out to Minister May Farley, my girl. Aha, her book says, open up your mouth and say something. Okay. And so that's what the Lord is leading us to do in this season. Also, is to open up our mouths and say something. Another thing I'm working on in this season is really sharing everything that God has given me. I have a problem with sharing. That's a huge problem. And it's really, sometimes it comes from a lack of confidence, right? And so oftentimes we have these great things going on and we don't want to share. We're either too humble, and don't want to feel prideful or boastful, or we're just, you know, kind of insecure about some things we got going on. But in this season of elevation, God is saying you need to share what I'm giving you, and you need to celebrate what I'm doing through you. So I just gave Minister May Farley a shout out and showed you her book, Open Up Your Mouth and Say Something. I'm gonna also give myself a shout out. God has really worked through me to write my fifth book, actually. Girl Hurt No More, Healing Waters. It is on Amazon. And we actually have a conference coming up March 21st through the 23rd here in Lakeland, Florida at the Hilton Garden Inn. I will send out that information again. I've been flooding my timelines, and thank you all for sharing that information, because it's a women's empowerment, faith-based women's empowerment movement. Okay, it's a movement, y'all. And what I'm telling you is the stuff that God has been pouring out, pouring into me, and I've been trying to pour out to the people. You're gonna see that times 10. Times 10. I'm telling you, it is going to be a mighty move of God. And guess what? God has blessed us where we have sponsors, a major sponsor for this conference. And so it's really unbelievable. But the tickets are only $35. for 3 days. We start Thursday night, Friday, all day Friday, Saturday, all day Sunday, and we have a banquet Saturday night where, not Sunday, Saturday night, where women are going to dress up and we're going to have a great time, and for $35. So I'm saying it again. It is March 21st through the 23rd in Lakeland, Florida. It is inspired by this book, the newest book, Girl Hurt No More, Healing Waters, which is available on Amazon. And when I say that this book to me is a special book because it was written first of all, it was written after my transition to being obedient to the Lord. So I think I shared it on the first live that the Lord called me out of my position that I was in, a very lucrative and beneficial, prosperous position, influential position where I was making an impact. And I love the people that I worked with. It had nothing to do with any of that. It had to do with me being obedient. And he had told me to do it before, and I was hesitant, right? And so after I left, literally in a couple of weeks, the Lord started pouring out. Like we're talking about healing waters. He started pouring out, and I just started writing and writing and writing and writing. And mind you, he didn't pull me out to do that. He pulled me out to start my own company. And so I was in the midst of starting a company, really working the company, working contracts. And the Lord paused me and said, I'm giving you this book. You got to finish the book. So in the middle of all of that, I had to stop, pray, consecrate myself, write this book, finish it for whatever reason. It was God's timeline, and then restart again. And so I know that you will be blessed. I'm telling you, y'all, that book is coming from it's coming from a whole different place. And so you'll be surprised. Give it a chance. It's on Amazon again. It's Girl Hurt No More, Healing Waters, Eumony Berrien. So I'm promoting myself now. I'm going to start speaking. I'm going to open up my mouth and say something now. If you are joining me, hit the like button, hit the share button. I promise it'll bless somebody later on, because I believe the Lord is again giving me lessons to learn in this season that are just not for myself. They are for other people. And again, I'm going to just be obedient and talk about what the Lord is doing in my life. So today I had the opportunity to attend a wonderful program, a ministry program. Albertina Brown has a ministry called Moving Beyond. And so it is it started as a support group for anyone that is grieving. Okay, we thought about loved ones. You lost people. I've lost my daughter. My husband and I even wrote a book about us losing her. And so going through that grieving process and, really having a support system, because I believe you definitely need a support system. Okay. You can't do this thing by yourself. Remember, we talked about it yesterday. You are not alone. You are not alone. You need a support system. You need a circle. Now, I didn't say you need a whole globe of people that's helping you. No, you need a small circle that God will send you that can help you along this way. So one of my circles is the Moving Beyond ministry. And so today they had a wonderful panel discussion, and I started gleaning. Okay. In this season, God is going to put you in places, sit you at tables, sit you in the midst of people where you just need to glean. Okay, that's a word for somebody. You're going to have to just glean. All right. And so it means just picking up whatever falls on the ground, whatever word is spoken, you're going to have to start picking it up. And so oftentimes what I do now is I carry a notebook and a pen always with me. Okay. And whenever someone is speaking, I'm normally jotting it down. If I have my phone, I take out the notes pad on my phone and I'm jotting stuff down, because I'm telling you, this year is a little bit different from 2023. And I believe God is going to speak clearly to us in supernatural and natural ways, meaning you're going to be in the midst of people and they don't even have to necessarily be preachers and teachers. No, regular conversations, and God is going to use them to give you a word, and you're going to have to grab it. You got to glean, grab it. So because I'm in that mindset right now that I'm gleaning and I'm grabbing and I'm hearing the words that the Lord is giving me, I went to the program today and started taking notes. And I was blessed by all of the panelists, and my husband happened to be one of them. And he was sharing our story about how we got through by God's grace when our daughter passed, and even some of his own personal experiences. But one thing kind of stuck out to me, a couple of things, but one thing in particular that I'll share is one of my good friends, Amber the Educator, Amber Screen. She's a licensed mental health therapist, and she talked about grief, right? And so this whole session was really about grief, but they took it to moving beyond just people dying in our lives to a loss, period, whatever that loss might be. And so she said that grief, she gave us two definitions. She said grief is the internal thoughts and feelings that come with the loss, whatever the loss might be, we grieve. Okay. And then mourning is the external expression of the thoughts and feelings that come with the loss. So grieving is more so internal, kind of like moaning when you're, you're just moaning, right? And then mourning is when it's open, when you allow people to see your grief. Now that is kind of hard, especially if you are a person that says, I am strong, I'm the strongest person in my family, I got to be strong for everybody. Hey, I'm there, okay? Because I feel like that also. Sometimes we don't want to mourn. We don't want people to see that we are actually grieving and we are going through. But what does that do to our progress? Because this is one thing she added. She said mourning is an indicator of moving forward. I was like, oh man, that is powerful. So when I really allow my grief to be exposed or expressed externally, meaning I'm showing people now, and it's not for show, let me say that, but I'm allowing myself to be vulnerable enough to say, I am going through this process. Yes, I had a loss. Yes, it hurt me internally. I am going through this process because I'm moving forward. And so that's what the Lord kind of stuck with me all day long after I left that session, is moving beyond a season, right? And so I've written about moving beyond the death of my daughter. And, I've talked about different family, death itself. But let's talk about moving beyond a particular season, how we grieve over particular seasons. And sometimes it's hard to just move forward. We get stuck. We are stalled. Sometimes we feel nobody hears me, whatever the case may be, but we can't move forward after we lose something. It could be a relationship. It could be a job, finances. It could be anything. Lose my keys. How do I move forward? I've got new keys, but those keys were special to me. I don't want to move forward. We get stuck sometimes in small, seemingly insignificant places where God is calling us to move beyond that. And so that's what I kind of want to discuss. And as I was praying and asking the Lord, hey, Lord, what should I even say to the people today? Because you've called me to speak daily. I do believe that right now. What should I say? And the Lord, it was just so simple. The Lord is just like, he gave me Samuel, 1 Samuel 16, when in verse 1, just one verse, when the Lord spoke to Samuel and said, how long are you going to grieve over Saul? Like it says, since I have rejected him from being king over Israel, how long are you going to grieve over Saul? And I just thought about that. I was like, oh, snap. Like for me, I'm going to be honest. My grieving comes from a whole life change since I stepped out on faith. Okay. Remember, I had a very influential job, consistent income coming in. Things are wonderful. All of these things are lining up in my eyesight, my fleshly eyesight. Everything is lining up. And when God called me out and said, are you going to obey? Or are you going to sacrifice? And I was like, oh, I don't want to sacrifice anything. So he's like, you're going to obey. And so when I chose to obey, that's when it got sticky. I'm be honest. Some people, I don't know why people tell us these lies that, oh, when I stepped out, everything was peachy keen and everything was going right. And No, y'all, that's not how it is. Okay. That's not how it is, especially if God has called you out. Okay. If he has called you out because he's got a greater purpose, you are going to go through turbulent times. I'm here to tell you, I'm the witness. You're going to go through turbulent times. But as I spoke yesterday, you're not alone, though. That's the lesson that we learned yesterday. I'm going to go through it, but I'm not alone. And God is either going to send people around or, hey, he himself is going to carry me through this. I'm still never alone. And so my grief comes from a change of lifestyle, a total dependency now on God, not on my paycheck that I know is going to come at this point, every month, every 2 weeks or whenever this is going to hit. It's total dependency on God now. Okay. And everybody isn't called to this faith walk. Let me just say that. Okay. And so my grief was the life that I had before, how easy things were before, or even hearing stories about people, that I used to work with and on the job, and how situations were, that life before that can cause grief. And internally, I might not express that to anybody, but the grief is inside, right? And so now dealing with it, God is like, have you entered into a season of mourning? Are you ready to move forward? Because how long are you going to grieve on that thing? I've told you that season was over. That's what he told Samuel. How long are you going to grieve over Saul when I told you I've rejected him as king? I'm moving forward. Are you going to move with me, or are you going to stay here? Because I'm ready to move forward. I can hear God saying that. I'm ready to move forward. How long are you going to stay here? And so many of us are stuck right there. We still grieving. Oh, why did that person do me this way? Oh, why did this happen? Oh, I lost this. Oh, I lost. And God is like, I'm trying to do a new thing in your life. How long are you just going to sit and pout over what I've already told you is gone? That is a previous season. I've done the work in that season. It's time to move on. And so that's a word for not just me, for somebody else out there. It's time to move on. You have grieved internally. Now express it by admitting. That's what mourning to me means. I'm admitting, I'm acknowledging that was my grief. I'm no longer keeping it to myself. I'm even sharing it on the World Wide Web. Telling my age, sorry. But I'm sharing it over the internet, on social media, saying that was my grief period, but I'm ready to move forward. How many of us can actually say that I am ready to move forward? Because many of us, if we can be honest, with ourselves, many of us are fine staying stuck. I don't want to stay stuck. Okay. I want to get to the next level. I want to get over this. I want to move forward. And how do I do that? I got to acknowledge that is grieving me right now. And it may not be where I need to go call somebody and try to resolve this. No, it just may be I need to acknowledge that and say, God, help me move forward. I really want to move forward. And so if we can be totally honest with ourselves, then we will move forward. It won't be where, no. Here are the steps. Let's take the first step. The first step for me is saying to myself, you can't go back. Can I be honest? That is my first step. You can't go back. He's told you to do this. You heard him correctly. No, can't go back. For some of you, that might be a relationship where you still dangling and should I? And God may be saying, you can't go back. No, I have moved you out of Egypt. No, you don't need to go back. Move forward to where I'm sending you. Whatever the case might be, unhealthy relationships, unhealthy management of finances, whatever that might be, you can't go back. You've got to move forward. So for me, that's what I've told myself. I can't go back. So that means I got to listen to the voice of God intently so that I can hear where he's taking me, right? And so again, dealing with the loss means I have to really address the anxiety that comes along with that. I have to address any uncertainties that lie there. I've got to really mature in my faith and understand that God has taken me somewhere I've never been. And that's okay. Isn't that my phrase? I said that yesterday. Apparently that's my phrase. and it's okay. God is taking me somewhere I've never been before, and that's okay. And so I need to get over, I need to release, let go. That means oftentimes I cry when the kids don't see me. I go in the bathroom, I go do whatever. I cry, I just let it all out. And then I come out and say, I got to move forward. I can't stay stuck back there. I can't keep thinking and reminiscing, and I've got to settle it and move forward. So my question in charge for you today is to really ask yourself, how long are you going to grieve over this thing? Are you ready to really move forward? What is it going to take for you to move forward, to mourn openly and then take the next step? What is it going to take for you to do that? You might not be able to answer that now. Again, I'm still processing and working through this as we go, but we've got to answer it, y'all. And we can answer that together. Okay. So that is just one lesson that I'm learning today. I'm learning to just sit in what God is doing and to just be obedient. Okay. And I want you to join with me on this journey as we just continue to move forward. So we're moving beyond a past season so that we can go into a new season. It's going to be scary, but we got this because God's got us. So thank you for joining my live today. Like it, share it. If you hated it, it's okay. Remember, it's okay. But try to be a blessing to somebody else so that we all can move forward and do what God is calling us to do. Y'all have a good night. And guess what? Guess when y'all see me again? Tomorrow, because I'm being obedient. So I'll see everybody tomorrow. Bye-bye.